Good morning, everyone. Well, unfortunately, looking like a dangerous day in eastern Iowa today, and that's something we don't say very often, but we have to today because hail and damaging wind looking likely, and we expect some isolated tornadoes as well. So let's get things started at 8 a.m. this morning, and nothing to worry about, just some isolated showers around. When we're concerned about the severe storms starting to pop up is around noon in the most southeastern part of the state. In between roughly noon and 4 o'clock, what we're concerned about is supercell thunderstorms that could produce some very large hail, maybe as big as baseball size, and with these supercell storms, possibility for a couple of tornadoes as well. So beginning around noon, the most southeastern part of the state, the best chance for seeing a supercell storm in and around the Quad Cities looking like 2 o'clock. Now, by the time we get to 4 o'clock, a little bit of a change. The chance for those supercell storms going down, but what we're going to see develop is a line of storms along a cold front. So storms ahead of the cold front, but then storms forming in a line along the cold front. And in this line of storms that's expected to form, though hail is still a possibility and we can't rule out a tornado, the biggest threat, it looks like, is going to be some very strong wind gusts. I mean, we're talking about wind gusts 40, 50 miles per hour being common. And I am not going to rule out in a couple of spots wind gusts as high as 80 miles per hour. That is a possibility. So let's time this out. Here we are at 4 o'clock. Most likely the storms around Mason City, Waterloo, Iowa City, and then pushing to the east. Best chance for this line of storms in and around the Quad Cities, probably 6, 7 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, though, the cold front clear of us, so the chance of storms coming to an end and the chance for severe storms. But we can't stop there because now we've got to talk about snow. It's off to the north and west. Probably all still isolated rain showers at 8 o'clock, but that's going to be changing. Let's jump ahead to midnight and look at the scattered snow showers moving in to the northwestern part of the state. At 4 o'clock, notice because temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer in the south, it's going to be a scattered rain-snow mix. I think most of us, though, are at least going to see a little bit of snow, but some rain mixing in, especially in the southern part of the state. 7 a.m., most likely time to be seeing this scattered rain-snow mix in and around the Quad Cities. Also, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, across the state getting very windy. We're talking about wind gusts 45 to as much as 50 miles per hour, and that looks to continue through the morning hours. Now, by 10 a.m., looks like the chance for rain and snow showers coming to an end for everyone, but staying very windy. Still seeing those gusts. In fact, this will probably be the peak of it. The most likely time to see gusts around 50 miles per hour, probably around 10 a.m. or so. But I'm going to leave the chance in there even around 1 o'clock. I do think by 4 o'clock, though, once we get into the late afternoon, probably still on the windy side, but not very windy more. Not seeing those gusts 45, 50 miles per hour anymore. And then winds will just continue to die down as we go through the evening hours. So to summarize the severe threat, it is from noon to 8 o'clock this evening. Again, initially between noon and 4 o'clock, supercell thunderstorms, particularly in the southeastern part of the state. And then from 4 to 8 o'clock, a line of storms. So looks like 2 rounds of activity, particularly in the southeastern part of the state. And worst case scenario, wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour. I do think that could occur in a couple spots. In a couple spots, we could see up to baseball size hail. We do expect some isolated tornadoes. Definitely looking like a couple of EF0 or EF1 tornadoes, but we can't rule out an EF2 or EF3 tornado, and that would mean winds as high as 150 miles per hour. So we certainly hope that does not happen, but it is a possibility. And because we're talking about a couple of rounds of storms, if you do get 2 thunderstorms, we could be talking about a few flood roads and low-lying and poorly drained locations. And for all of these threats, though it's a possibility anywhere shaded on this map, the locations we're most concerned about seeing baseball size hail, wind gusts as high as 80 miles per hour, and an EF2 or EF3 tornado: Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Ottumwa, Muscatine, Davenport, Moline, and Dubuque. This is the area we're most concerned about, but do have to mention the chance for these threats, though smaller, even for places like Fort Dodge, Mason City, and Creston. And to wrap up, how much snow? Definitely a secondary thought compared to the severe threat. In the southeastern part of the state, probably looking at a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch for places like Des Moines, Iowa City, Waterloo, Dubuque, more likely to be a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. Fort Dodge, Mason City looking like around 1 inch, and the high totals, though not real high, around 1.5 inches for Sioux City and up around the Sioux Falls area.